All right, welcome everyone. Let's jump into a vintage cube. I'm practicing to hopefully get to Vegas. So yeah, that's the point of this video. I started the recording a little bit late, so my first pick is going to be a bit rushed. I think I'm going to start on a Triome here and see where that takes me. Snapcaster is a good card. Lauren Reveal is similar to the Triome. Currency Converter can go in any deck. I don't mind if anybody's taking that card. Okay, what do we have next here? So, Great Lane and Sheldog Isle, I love that card. Prismatic Vista is a 5-color land, and then we have a couple of duels that actually works well with Sagoth Triumph. But I think Prismatic Vista is better than both of the duels. So for me, it's between Prismatic Vista and Sheldog Isle. We can just stay open here. That's totally fine with me. Let's take Prismatic Vista, see where that takes us. A couple of lands to start out the draft. That's not bad. Do I see anything here that's worth moving into an actual color for? You can argue a card like Imperial Seal is something that's going to make your good deck even better. If you're just going for, the solid approach, you can go for something like Tundra or Rafine's Tower. The thing about Tundra is it sets me up for 4 colors, so does Rafine's Tower. This could be a tough draft to navigate. I'll try the Tundra here. What's the best card in this pack? Is probably like maybe a Johnny. I guess we can take a Johnny here. It's kind of a weird, like, starting with all the fixing in the world. But yeah, let's just see where the draft takes us. I think this is a reasonable spot to take the best card out of the pack. If you take Paradise Druid because you think all the multicolor lands will lead you into multicolor green, I'm not opposed to that. By the way, this is a single elimination draft, so it could be anything from 1 to 3 matches. Let's aim for a 3, though. So this is interesting. A card like Leyline Binding, if it's a 1-drop or 2-drop, is a premier removal. And with me having a Triome already, could be such a situation. In reality, though, Fabled Passage is probably going to be better, but it's not obvious. I've never been in this spot before. Okay, maybe this is time to take Leyline Binding. Removal spell you can never go wrong with. Okay, so let's see. Grist is a great card. I have a Triumph, I have a Vista. I don't know my second color. Well, I hardly know my first color, but I could take Grist here as the best card out of the pack. We actually see a lot of solid black here. A Braid is also good, but my mana base does not support red, so that's kind of not in consideration right now. Super weird start to the draft. So there is a world where I end up like Absan, play all the best cards possible, maybe even blue if I open some kind of power or Oko or whatever. This pack is actually stacked. Like lots of super solid cards here I wouldn't mind playing. Maybe the pick is just the Troll. The Troll is like a black fetch already. I'm gonna play black. I can pick up Reanimation later. This is tough because Kaito's solid, Teferi is solid, and I know I can play Teferi with my splashes here. Maybe Teferi is too strong to pass up. Okay, I'll go for Teferi. What a weird draft. Okay, here's Halfling. So now my deck actually has a purpose, I would say. If I'm base green, let's say I'm green-white with splashes, basically. That's what I'm hoping will happen. So a card like Halfling, Burst of Paradise, Noble Hierarch, etc. are premium. When you have green mana dorks, you want to be base green. Splashing mana dorks is quite bad. So, I mean, looks like I'm green-white with splashes. Let's see. Green-white with splashes A. Here's a green-white land. I'd probably take that over Prismatic Vista. Very solid pack again. Goyf. I'll play that card any day of the week. Preacher, same. Snapcaster, same. But I think I'm going to improve on my mana base a little bit here. So this is where the I can't remember the name, but the Paradise Druid kind of comes into. Paradise Druid is good, but if you pick it as your first green card, it's not really ideal. I think picking up halfling there made a lot of sense, though. Multicolor green with the good starting accelerants. I like that archetype. That archetype is generally weak to combo decks, where you want to stabilize against aggro and you want to like just play good card quality up the curve. And that starts with having, you know, good mana base, acceleration, and actual good haymakers. So yeah, I think this is quite strong. Whenever you have the first 9 cards and none of them are being dragged into the sideboard, in general, I like my spot. What do we have here? We have, I mean, Deathbreeder's Champion is an awesome card, but I think I just take the Seachrome Coast. Right now, Seachrome Coast is actually casting my cards. You could argue that because of the binding, I'm supposed to take Sacred Foundry as a, let's call it a Plains with upside. Not the most exciting pack here. Maybe I just bolster my cards, and then the domain kind of has to wait. Is this one of the Unicorn Feel of the Dead decks? I'm willing to take the card. I hope I don't register very many basic lands in this deck, which Prismatic Vista is kind of sad about, I would guess. So let's see. These cards are both fine, but I don't think I'm playing red, so let's take the Archfiend. Very, very unique start to this draft, so I'm happy I recorded it. What was my first pick? That was Triome into something like Vista. Here's Bronco, which is a great card. I'm not sure I can play it, though. Let's see. Bronco. If I play Bronco, I probably don't play a Johnny, and then I play green-black with splashes. Let's see, I guess. We can put them over here in the maybe pile. All right, next pack. What do we have here? Let's see. If I'm something within the Absan world, I can't play Chain Lightning. Tidal Color off the splash is bad. Retrofitter Foundry is fine, not amazing. Okay, this is not a good pack for me. I'm gonna have to take a bad first pick here. Something like Gaia's Cradle, maybe, but then again, what am I really doing with that Cradle? I'm adding a lot of variance to my deck? And what am I doing with all the extra mana? Maybe I'm double spelling in the late game or something? It's really not impressive. I do think it's the pick, though. Let's take Gaia's Cradle, see if we can make that work. Here's a Caracas. It's very hard to pass up. Let's check out the rest of the pack. Isika's Chariot is great. Yeah, let's take the Caracas. Let's take the Caracas here. So I have to think a little bit about the possibility to be a Feel of the Dead deck. So I do want some kind of tutor for it. Question is if Expedition Map is that tutor. What am I passing up on here? What's it competing with? I should ask. It's competing with Nissa, very solid haymaker, but should be quite replaceable. Expedition Map. I'll try the map. Ooh, here's an Oko. Okay, Oko's awesome. So I'm looking to be base green, and I can splash blue quite easily with the lands I already have. Passing up on Natural Order is annoying. Sylvan Caryatid would also have been good in the deck, but I need some card quality here. So with the Oko picked up, I don't really get closer to a decision on, you know, white versus black. Right now I'm leaning white. Green, white base, splash blue for Oko, splash black for Grist. Okay. And blue for Teferi. Okay, I mean, this is workable. I will need some help here. Noble, Mox, birds, stuff like that. Here's Llanowar Elves. Does that count? Turn 1 Llanowar Elves, and I need some kind of... Yeah, well, it's probably not that bad. I can take Llanowar Elves here. The good old Llanowar Elves Feel of the Dead deck is not ideal either, I can tell you that much. But the rest of this pack is not really for me. Here's Noble. Probably have to snap that up. Very, very good pickup for me. Let's take the Noble over something like, I don't even know, Triumph, Reprieve probably? Yeah, Reprieve, okay. Yeah, Noble was a great pickup. Elvish Mystic was more like, if I don't see, you know, Noble Birds, etc., I'll be happy that I picked that card up. And I have Gaia's Cradle, this and that. Like, Gaia's Cradle is also awesome with a Johnny. The Feel of the Dead could easily just not be in the deck, and I could just use all of these lands to, you know, cast my spells, and I have some good spell lands down here, no matter what happens, though. I'm not scared about that. Here's Virtue as a very solid card. There's also Uro. Am I supporting double blue? I don't think I am. I think blue is kind of a splash color here, but it could be the other way around, that white is just a splash and I play green-blue. So in that case, I would remove the Ajani most likely, because splashing a 2-drop is not perfect. Let's see, green-blue. I guess Uro is just a lot better than the Virtue. All right, you're in. Let's see here. Wasteland is good. What else are we looking at? We're looking at some cards we most likely can't cast. If I'm banned splash grist, basically, we can take the Wasteland here. Or maybe this land is too strong, actually. Banned splash grist. Yeah, okay, this Tram is too strong. Let's take this Tram. Forced and Wield. Prismatic Omen doesn't do anything unless I have exactly Valakut and Scapeshift, I feel like. Elvish Reclaimer. Okay, we can try that. Let's take Elvish Reclaimer. Tutor up Caracas is not nothing. Here's basically Winds of Abandon for, you know, Haymaker against other mid-range, or it's Soul Cauldron for Graveyard Shenanigans. I'm actually leaning Soul Cauldron here. Let's move that to the sideboard. I wield the Nissa, which is very good for me. I'm in the market for cards like that. The bounce land is not terrible, but let's take the premium mid-range card. Here's Umnath. I don't think I can cast that card. I have 0 red sources right now, but I mean, maybe I should take it. Or maybe the Zoran Orb is part of some backdoor combo, actually. We can take that. Godless Shrine helps me cast my spells. I just realized. I have white, I have black. Okay. Survival, is there any way, any world where something with Uro is good? No, I'm going to take the Timeless. I'm not sure that I register the Timeless, though, but could be good. 2 mana cycle for land is not crazy strong. But let's see. It's like cool I have infinite non-basics already for the Feel of the Dead, but I think I need something like Primeval Titan to consider it. Then that's just a very, very strong late game. Okay, so Sheldred is easily the best card in this pack. Can we cast a Sheldred? 1 black, 2 black, 3 black, 5 black if I play a Swamp, 6. I don't think I can cast that Sheldred, but it does hurt to pass it up. Maybe I just take this member. Premium removal. Can't go wrong with that. You said about the Sheldred later. Parallax Wave is awesome, but it's kind of like Sheldred. Can I cast it? That's the question. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have a lot more white than I had black. Oh, there's also a Bowmaster. I missed that card. Okay, maybe I should take the Bowmaster. It's easier to cast. And it's, I mean, similar power level, I would say. Okay, let's take the Bowmaster. Bowmaster's also good with good old Caracas. Cradle, that is. Okay, so we're looking a bit better here. Let's see. Green-blue with that splash. Maybe Bronco, but let's see. Let's see about the Bronco. Watery Grave is going to be awesome. Maybe I just take that card over, I don't even know. Yeah, Watery Grave is just absurd here. So now I have to pick up a lot of playables. I can play this Bronco and probably will. It's just a fine card, like a Dark Confidant, where I can kind of control how aggressive I am when it comes to life. I can, you know, stop attacking with it and saddle it up later. What do we have here? We have Zenith. Zenith, 2 mana, basically go get Halfling or Noble. Or more expensive, go get Grist. That's probably a good enough split card that I'll take it here over something like Unearth. It's not really competing with much, to be honest. I mean, I would love, like, right now it's a split card between 2 mana ramp and 4 mana Grist, which is not bad, but not crazy either. Okay, let's take this library. Very late library there. Let's see if we can get there on playables. Barrogoyf, I love that card. Question is if Channel Ulamog is better to slot into my deck, or just the good old solid Goyf. Maybe we just take the good old solid Goyf. That should be the name of the card, Solid Goyf. Kind of weird deck, but also pretty high card quality and decent amount of ramp. No power, though, so yeah, I mean, I think I drafted this relatively well. A card like Expedition Map is just not strong. The Reclaimer is at least, you know, fine. Let's see if we can finish strong here. That would be delightful. The white splash looks good. Hard removal and good haymaker. The black is turning into more of a main color than a splash, which is questionable. Maybe we just take Pick Your Poison, some kind of interaction that will make my deck 10 out of 10 times. What am I taking it over? Not much for me. Entomb Uro is playable, but not amazing. So let's count our playables here. We are at 18 playables. So I think I have to take playables. I would have loved to bolster my mana here, but let's take Reclamation Sage. This draft was a bit weird because I spend a lot of time picking mana fixing. Maybe this is Chart a Course once more. I mean, I would love the land, but I don't think I can do it. I think I have to take the Chart a Course. Then maybe here, or like Terrace Under is decent. Let's count once more. 32 minus 12 is 13 even. Okay, so we have to take a spell. That's fine. So Terrace Under or Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time could be fine. Terrace Under is some decent removal. Okay. These cards are not good for my deck. Is the Lounge even something I would play? I don't know. Let's take the Lounge. What do we have here? We have an Unearth. Looks decent. I'll take the Unearth. That card is playable. I'll take the Blooming Marsh. And take the Brawler. That's not embarrassing to register in a deck that's looking to have a lot of land types in play. So I guess with that card, we play the Lounge. We want blue, we want black, and we have some domain stuff. Okay, this deck is not the most typical deck I've drafted, let me tell you that much. It looks like we will be registering a total of 3 basic lands. That's actually pretty funny. Let's see, how many targets do I have right now for this dragon? I have Tundra, Triome, Godless Shrine. Okay, so I might play the dragon. All right, so let's see. How much green starting mana do I have? 1, 2, not counting Cradle. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not a lot. It looks like I'll have to go almost mono. Maybe we don't even play the field. I'll have to go something like Reforest here. So let's see. How many starters do I have now? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we accept that. Then I'm counting blue. 1. If I play the basic 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that sounds great. Let's check black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Okay, so I think I want, in a perfect world, I want 1 island, 1 swamp. Let's check up on the white real quick, but I think I'm good on white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and some mana dorks. Yeah, that's good. So right now I have 19 lands in order to fit my color requirements, which is really not that good. Am I cutting Gaia's Cradle from this deck? It looks like it's just not good enough in this deck. It doesn't do anything. I'm kind of low to the ground. Cutting Gaia's Cradle from my deck. That's not something I do every day, but I think it had to be done here. This deck is not really how I wanted it to end up, but it looks like if we can curve some stuff, we'll be fine, right? This deck is like, I don't know, like a 6 out of 10 maybe. Definitely is playable, has, high card quality, but can also stumble a little bit on mana, I would imagine, and no power to make up for it. So I'll submit this one, and let's see how it goes. See you guys for round 1. All right, round 1. I'm on the draw here with my, I guess, 4-color deck. Let's see. If my opponent plays a turn 1 creature, ooh, very nice. I can't dismember. If not, should probably just go Triome. Yeah. Ooh, Halfling. Halfling changes things a little bit, but not all that much because it doesn't add black for Bowmaster. So I'm actually gonna play Sagoth Triumph Pass. Maybe I can catch my opponent. Let's see. Here's Academy. Okay, it looks like my opponent's not messing around. Assault Monolith. So right now I'm hoping for something like Time Spiral. Let's pass the turn. Opponent has 8 mana here if they go land, right? Land, 1, 2, 3, 6, 8. Yeah, land, that means 8 mana. Which obviously can't be good for me. So now we just have to dodge disaster. I imagine this is one of the worst matchups for the deck, like my deck. Because if my opponent goes and plays... tries to go over the top of me, that's where I really don't have the defense to stop it. My deck is good against, similarly mid-range decks or aggressive decks, I would say. I don't have the Thoughtseizes, the Force of Will, the Counterspells of the world to kind of compete with big mana stuff. I can't remember. Did I pick up Wasteland for this deck? Let me check the screenshot here. I don't have Wasteland. I feel like I had a chance to pick it up at some point, but maybe the other card was better. It's very tough to be, black and white about which picks are better than others. You can think about a lot of factors, and then that can lead you to an answer that is based on some kind of data. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of variance when it comes to the constructions of the packs, what your neighbor randomly opened and got into, and that will either be an advantage for you or a disadvantage, and then you kind of have to maneuver it. So Vintage Cube, in my opinion, is a lot of maneuvering. Speaking of maneuvering, let's see if my opponent respects the counterspell. Chromo Seed Shark, very strong card. I will probably have to dismember that research desk. I'm actually going to respond here so my opponent does not get time to deploy another sorcery speed spell. My opponent has 4 mana. Okay, so I kind of escaped that. My opponent has a 1/1 left, which did power the Academy, but it is what it is. Actually, now I have a cool sequence where I go play land, play halfling, and then it kind of looks like I've been delaying this halfling in order to keep up counterspell, which is very good for me. Okay, so I guess this is a problem. My opponent now has infinite mana. Ooh. Okay, I think I have to play that card out. Yeah, I think library is the way to go here. If my opponent doesn't do anything where Bowmasters interact, I can get library online, and I feel like that's my path to victory. If my opponent has a way to leverage the infinite mana from the research desk, it is what it is. Yeah, big academy deck with good pieces here. On color Mox, Seed Shark. Could be a problem. Could be a quick one. Here's infinite mana for the opponent. So at least they should go for a redraw here. Redraw from the Fiery Islet to kind of see if they already won. This is kind of the boring part about... My opponent can't just show me a card and win the game here because we play on Magic Online, so... Right now, we're basically playing as if the opponent's just going to crack Fiery Islet and give it a look. Maybe I should yield to that untap ability. It doesn't seem like I'm ever responding to that. The cool thing about Gadgeteer and Basalt Monolith is that once you kind of activate, you can respond and just untap once more, right? So I would need a lot of stuff in response to kill it, and we're past that point. But it looks like my opponent's been playing this safely. I think I will play out the Bowmaster here in response to the Islet, if I'm giving it the chance. Oh, it's Research Desk. Got it. Okay, Research Desk enters, and now my opponent gets to look at 2 cards. So that's better than looking at 1 card. Exile the top 2 cards. Let's see them. That is a Wishclaw Talisman and a Bauble. So next turn, my opponent can go and tutor. That's not good for me, right? So let's look at my deck. If I have any answers, I do have some answers. Something like, not Pick Your Poison. That wouldn't work. Terra Sunder, Rex Age. Okay. Interesting. Let's see. My opponent cracks a clue. Has infinite mana. What can we do about it? I could have cast Bowmasters there. I was sleeping at the wheel. Could end up good for me. Let's see. You can argue that it's good because I want to get library active, but since Terra Sunder is part of my plan, I actually want to cast Chart a Course next turn, so I don't have mana to library Chart a Course and then actually hit the Terra Sunder, so I think I should have Bowmastered there. Wow, we end up getting pseudo not punished, I guess. So let's see. What can I draw into here? I can draw into the Dismember, so it's fine leaving up the library. Okay. Here is the Bowmaestros. I can kill the Gadgeteer, but it doesn't do much because my opponent can take infinite mana. Infinite mana response. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should try and beat infinite mana. Oh, okay. Looks like my opponent is going to make a lot of mana in response, even though they would have plenty of time to do that later, but it's whatever. Time Spiral. My opponent needs to hit incredibly poorly on that Time Spiral for me to win. So even though this looks kind of good that I catch a draw 7 with Bowmasters, it's still very unlikely that it's enough to win. It looks like my opponent is... I mean, yeah, what can they have here? Something like Retrofitter Foundry is good with infinite mana. Walking Ballista is good with infinite mana. Fourth Yolingas is good with infinite mana. I mean, in general, if my opponent can just unload their hand full of, mana value 15 total cards, I mean, my deck can't win. So right now, I'm basically hoping my opponent draws the most atrocious time spiral in history, and we're playing for info. So that's basically the reason. It looks like my opponent is playing as if they would never get a chance to respond to Bowmasters. Okay. I actually draw the Dismember, which is fun. And my opponent does not have enough mana right now to Ballista me dead, but I guess it doesn't matter. They can just do it all over. So maybe I just shoot my opponent. I'm basically shooting my opponent to limit the, to make sure that more draw sevens, more Ancestral Recall, etc. aren't ways for my opponent. Let's say they draw, I don't know, 5 lands, 2 draw spells. So I'm trying to prey on my opponent doing exactly that. Trying to isolate the type of hand I can actually beat. Because I'm not beating my opponent unloading Mere Battlesphere, casting Upheaval, whatever the case may be here. Here's Tinker. Probably game over, but I mean, let's see. That's the dream, right? Academy, Sapphire, infinite mana. Here's Portal to Phyrexia. Very problematic. Okay. Fair enough. I'll go to sideboarding here. So looks like a terrible matchup. If my opponent, but I guess they drew Academy and Mox, so let's see if we can dodge their best draws and brawl with our opponent. This looks fine. I have turn 2 Bronco, hopefully turn 3 Oko. Let's see, I don't need red, so I might as well develop the Sagoth here. Yeah, I mean, my hand just looks awesome, right? I have great cards in my deck, but I'm getting overwhelmed by power. That's the main thing. If my opponent plays at a similar speed, I love this hand. But if my opponent's tinkering portals and powering out infinite mana with Time Spiral, I'm losing. Opponent fires off Cataction Probe before bad stuff happens with Bowmasters. Makes a lot of sense. Also, they did not pay mana, so maybe they have a tap land or something to do with their mana. Some of my favorite openings out of, artifact deck is like Land Mox Talisman that just sets you up so nicely for turn 2. Here's Mox Diamond. Here's Mox Sapphire. Here's Mox Emerald. Oh, this is this is not good for the home team. Gadgeteer. And a Bauble. Wow. Casting 5 spells turn 1 in Vintage Cube. That's the dream, basically. That's the dream. And now even a 2-3 that bricks my Bronco? Come on now. Come on now, bro. I'll actually play out the Bowmasters here. It looks like one of my ways to have a chance this game is my Wow's 0-lander even, or 0 lands in play at least. One of my ways to win this game is that the opponent is leaning on those clues to get anywhere. Don't tinker me, bro. Let's see, this could be the fastest video in history. Sheldred's Edict on the Bowmasters. Very nice. And then crack a clue, hopefully for me, I guess. Okay, play Research Desk, get another clue. Crack the desk, looking for zeros right away. Assault and Talisman. So infinite mana for our opponent next turn. I don't have time to develop Oko unless I draw land. I did not draw land. So Attack. Do I play Bronco or a draw 2? Bronco or a draw 2? Maybe it's a draw 2. Oh. Chart of course. Caracas does not help against the Forensic Gadgeteer. Maybe develop white here's the play. Yep. All right. You're up, opponent. You have infinite mana on turn 3. That's fair. My opponent really took off the gloves here. Oof. So amazing. Monolith. So at least my opponent has three redraws here thanks to Monolith Gadgeteer. So there's a very high chance my opponent can more or less play out their deck here because they play such a high density of artifacts. So every time they play an artifact, Gadgeteer creates a clue, and that clue can get cracked. So it's like, sure, lands are bricks, spells are bricks, but my opponent's getting, I don't know, I would guess like 6 or 7 cards deep here on average. It's tough to do that math, but yeah, I feel like this game is just over. I needed that Bowmasters to stick, so the clue plan was kind of accounted for. Now it's the good old make a ton of mana situation. Very, very nice for the opponent here. I must say I'm a bit jealous. Monolith. So I think Gadgeteer, let's see how it works. It doesn't combo with Grim Monolith, which is kind of funny. This only combos with Basalt Monolith, but the Fox, that I can't remember the name of, combos with both Monoliths. Yeah, I like those. Also, this is just, without the Monolith, this is not a terrible card. Like, obviously, my opponent has the best deck for it ever, but just in general, like, maybe if you have, like, 1 Mox, couple of Talismans, some decent 1-man artifacts, like, you know, Top, Currency Converter, whatever, Research Desk, Bauble, all of a sudden you just turn through your deck, and all of these cards that individually aren't strong, they're just good together, right? Then you make this puzzle of good stuff. The synergy part of Magic. I'm excited to see what the opponent does at the end of the rainbow here. Maybe they have some strategy to, you know, make a lot of mana first, then start cracking clues. It's more like a personal preference. They could also just have Walking Ballista in hand, and then that's the end of that. Like, that's the best combo to have, right? The annoying thing is, if you have this card, you can't companion your Fox because this doesn't have an activated ability. It's pretty weird. So there's no redundancy between those two, at least. Here's Everflowing Chalice. Sure. Playing that out for 5, and then continuing to make mana. I don't know. In this spot, I guess I just draw with the clue instead of making all that mana beforehand. I guess with the Everflowing Chalice, it makes sense. The world is my opponent's oyster. And it looks like this is going to be a short video, but let's see how my opponent finishes this game. That's the cool thing about Vintage Cube and Magic in general, that the opponent's ways to win is also something I find like fascinating. I love that. Like, so one of us got to live the dream, and it was my opponent. So, I mean, I'm happy for them, if that makes sense. And I love like these Forensic Gadgeteer, Basalt Monolith, infinite mana. Like, I'm fascinated by it, no matter which side of the table they're on, right? So I could also, you know, not upload this video, go record a new one, do better, and then, you know, make the laws go away, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm not scared about that. So my opponent goes Time Spiral here to basically find something to use the infinite mana on. I draw into a lot of solid cards, but actually, let's say this turned into like a normal game here. The opponent had to pass the turn or whatever. This hand is actually atrocious. I can Zenith for a Grist, and that's about it. Let's see. How can you finish me, opponent? Here's a research desk. Let's see what the research shows. Ooh, Kappa Cannoneer. That card is insane. So now the opponent can go crack Clue into Kappa Cannoneer, and then the artifacts that my opponent cast afterwards are even growing the Cannoneer. This could be one of those games where the opponent just sets up a big board and passes the turn back to me, and then that's all she wrote. Yeah, this deck really, on paper, had a lot of struggles with decks going big, and then we play against the ultimate going big deck round one with some, I would say, unbeatable draws, like Infinite Mana turn 3, this game, and the other game just, maybe it was like turn 4, I don't know. It was way too fast. Because the thing about this deck is it doesn't even kill the opponent quickly. It just plays, solid stuff. I would even say good stuff, more than solid. Like, this deck has great card quality. It just gets ridiculed by absurd acceleration. And, like, huge plays. It's just, if the opponent's deck is kind of, cheating on mana, so to speak, which this is definitely cheating on mana, like having Triple Mox Infinite Mana built in, Academy deck, then I don't think this deck can do anything. Like even casting an Oko or Grist turn 2 or 3 is laughable compared to what the opponent's doing now. So that's always kind of cool, like how certain strategies line up against each other. And then my opponent can lose to, some blue-white deck, flashes in a couple of creatures, pecks away at their life total, has a couple of counters, and then my opponent's deck just falls flat, or some red deck that with a timely, I don't know, artifact removal or whatever. Here's Heartcast Blightsteel. That's pretty nice. The opponent has the good old Blightsteel and Portal in the deck for some good old Tinker flexibility. And the opponent has more. Well, obviously, they have the clue. 8 cards in hand. Infinite mana. So my opponent now has lethal with Infect. Not quite lethal with normal damage, but they can get there with the Kappa Cannoneer. The whole thing about every artifact getting cast also gives a clue, so that the Cannoneer grows twice every time. That's quite nice. Okay, looks like the opponent's passing the attacking for 2 here rather than passing the turn. And the ward 4 makes it so that I can't kill the Cannoneer, so not good, not good. Charter Core is not going to help me. All right, GG's to our opponent. Right-click concede. We got utterly demolished here, so I will need to practice harder if I want to make it to Vegas. I hope to do that next time here on the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time for more sweet Singleton magic. Could be Cube, could be Dual Commander, but that's what my jam is right now. I hope you like it as well. Thanks so much for the support.